I was just trying to talk to my fellow panelists about, how you want to make it very anecdotal and very engaging this session. So I'm going to actually start with this question about, we hear so many concepts around gender, gender equality, gender diversity, you know, uh, there is gender neutrality. So actually, when you are actually thinking of making any decision in your daily life, do you actually even think of these concepts when you are actually doing your daily work and making those daily decisions in your leadership role? So I think I'll first give the mic to Dr. Kajal. Maybe she can talk about the same.
Hello everyone. Thank you, Aman, and thank you for having me here today. In my opinion, whatever I have seen in last 15, 16 years of my service and in our daily life, this is a concept which is something which I feel this is an integral part of your everyday's life. Just to give you a simple example that when you take decisions, if you don't look into this aspect, you are missing onto a very big thing. And I will tell you, I've been very, very fortunate enough that my seniors have always seen me, like as a woman, into the leadership roles and coming onto any platform as an asset rather than any, liability or anything. To give you one example, when I was interviewing for one of the posts on which you're not posted by the government, but you have to interview and you get selected, and it was a post which was basically related with power sector. A lot of it's a male dominant area. Most of the engineers are coming from electrical, civil engineering. I'm a doctor by qualification, and I applied because I had worked in this sector. I like this sector very much. I had the understanding of the nuances and the policy making and how I implemented it when I was in Varanasi as a managing director of the DISCOM. But when I was applying, even this thought came to my mind that, whether I would succeed in this interview or not, because my counterparts were all like coming from maybe MIT, IITs or, whatnot. So, but still, I had the belief, and I went ahead and I appeared for the interview and I gave my candid answers. And the very next day I got the call from my HR manager saying that, did you see your email? And I was like, no, I haven't checked it yet. So congratulations, you have been selected. So this is where, when I got selected, and then when my boss was transferred and he got promoted, and I asked him this question on his farewell, that, why did you select me and not the others who were there and maybe more, knowledgeable, technical knowledge was higher than me. He said, what you bring to the table, others did not, they did not bring that. You bring a new perspective, a new aspect, which, we all think in a similar mode. We all are engineers, we all understand the concepts in a very similar way. But you as a doctor, as a lady, you have the experience. You are not, not a naive in the sector. You had the experience, but you will come with a new perspective which we don't have. And I admire what you have given so far, and I enjoyed working with you. That was the answer that was given to me, which really motivated me. And I've been told that I have done good job in that sector. So somewhere, this is where I believe that this is how day-to-day, daily life, these decisions are being taken. And when you go there and you bring that perspective which others are not bringing, that's how that diversity, that inclusivity helps you. So that's from my side. Thank you.
So in a way, you are trying to say it's not about gender, but it goes beyond when we talk about inclusivity and diversity. Nandita ma'am, your thoughts?
Thank you, Aman. It's a real pleasure to be back in such a panel discussion. And it's lovely to hear Dr. Kajal, who is not only a doctor, a gynae herself, but also a PhD. That's really wonderful. And what she said is so, so relevant. That a different perspective gets added. So the more diverse, so it's gender is not only a woman's issues. It is to bring inclusivity, diversity, a very new perspective. Certain things which men think that this is this is the way it should be. Very added perspectives get added, and the result becomes a beautiful bouquet. The way they say, only a single kind of a flower, rather a mix, a beautiful mix, so that you come with the best policies. So all the policy makers should be having the gender perspective, not only the woman's perspective, be it disability, be it any specially able children when you work, their perspective. Unless they all are brought into the mainstream, that is what I feel is equality. It's not only limited to mere male and female, and it's not only a woman's issue per se. Thank you.
Ma'am, I'm just going to add on a question.
Yeah.
Do you think these concepts are actually a myth? Is it more about dignity in a developing country like ours?
Myth as in?
So I'm trying to say that, while we keep talking about these concepts, but at a grassroots level, it's more about the dignity, maybe to an individual, it could be to the profession.
Yes, yes. In India, we have been worshipping her as Durga, as Mata, with 8 hands, doing everything. But was the reality so? She was expected to deliver each and everything. Right now, MOSPI is taking out a time survey analysis. How much of her work, in time use survey, it is seen that 10 times more of her work goes into unpaid care work. That is not added to the national income. So that she takes care of the elderly, she takes care of the ill people in the family, the pets, the cows, all that is unpaid care economy. Had those been added to the economy, the national income would have been so much higher. The way McKinsey Global Report, they have come out with the report, had more diversity been ensured, had more women's contribution been added, by 2025, $12 trillion would get added. And what we are missing out? So all this is going to come back again in national income accounting. They're going to add the unpaid care economy. So dignity is the bottom line. She deserves all the respect. That doesn't mean we don't give her her due. She needs to be appreciated, but at the same time, when I was hearing the other panel, when they are hiring, the first thing they are asking when they see a married lady, what about your family? Are you going to start a family? And then she loses out on the job. What an unfortunate system. So I have worked with Menka Gandhi ma'am. I heard that she's coming, and the way she was so passionate about setting up of creches in working institute. Even in parliament, the creche was started when she was there. I was assisting her. And I was hearing about the Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao, the way the CSR, they were discussing in Haryana. Ma'am was telling that the child sex ratio in the 0 to 6 category was so bad. And we were taking, and it was for the first child. When we started taking the second child and the third child, the ratio was even worse. It was 600 to 1,000, 700 to 1,000. Where did those girls vanish? So the Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao Abhiyan, which was started again, I'm repeating Venka ma'am because, see, I'm 30 years old in government, but my stint in women and child, and that I was sent to government of Afghanistan as the gender advisor. That is still there. Right now I'm with food, feeding 81 crore people free ration, giving them free ration all through the year, and it has been now extended for another 5 years. But still, my contribution, whatever I assisted them in women and child, I'm not able to forget. That Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao, one example I want to tell you. When ma'am, कौन थे यहाँ जो CSR, Ranjana Kumari ma'am, she was speaking that in Haryana when they started, we had to go and the DMs were given the charge even the grandparents, especially the grandmothers, the dadi, her mindset was to be changed because they were always wanted a male son. The Kuan Pujan used to be done only when you give birth to a male. But in Rajasthan, in Haryana, they reversed the trend. Even if a daughter was born, they started celebrating. And the contribution of the DMs, the Panchayat institution, the Dadi, Nani, and one example which I really want to say, Gupta and Sons, usually log naam likhte hain, wo banda Gupta and Daughters likha apni dukaan pe. And you know, that was so much highlighted. Others got influenced that even daughters can contribute. Why not? So those people were our champions. Those were our grassroots champions. And that mindset change led to a lot of difference. And today, we are all happy. We are seeing the results. The child sex ratio has not only improved in Haryana, in Rajasthan, but it's all over the country. And the second child, third child, the difference was so appalling. I'm telling you, it was really scary. Where did those girls vanish? So when you think deeply, so that stint of mine, I become very passionate when I speak, and I over and over go back to that theme. But really, we lost so many girls, the missing girls. One of my batchmates, he was in health, now he has gone back. He has written a book called The Missing Girls. UNIFEM, UN Women, UN organizations, our own civil society, all of them have worked a lot. So basic dignity, we cannot forget. Yes, Ashtabhuja वो हो सकती है, but वो चाहती है क्या? ये सारा काम, does she have an option? अगर उसके पास मेड रखने की कैपेबिलिटी होती, तो शायद वो किसी और को देती. ये शायद वो नर्स रखने की फाइनेंशियल कैपेबिलिटी होती, तो रखती. But that she is doing all this is she forced to do all this, or she is doing it on her own volition at the cost of her career? That thought we need to be.
Ma'am, very interesting anecdotes. Dr. Kajal, when you started your career, in 2008, if you think of these concepts then and now, what changes you see?
I think we have come off very far along in this whole journey because, well, I come from Punjab. To be very honest, I mean, I'm raised in a very, very independent thinking family where, the boy, and although, I mean, Punjab and Haryana had those issues of female feticide and all, but then my personal, family, my whole scenario in which I was groomed was very, I would say, equality was there. I was given a whole bunch of opportunities which my parents could provide to me. I was never given that kind of discrimination that others might have faced. But when I came to UP and my cadre was Uttar Pradesh and I landed in Sitapur for the first time, you won't believe it that being a doctor, you read those kind of in books, in your medical books, the malnourishment and the flag sign, if you know about that, if a malnourished child you see, they have a flag sign. So I used to read it in my books of pediatrics, but when I went to Sitapur, I actually saw those kids. And I actually saw that, how, the women are still doing all those household chores, and there was a lot of difference from where I came and what I was seeing. It was as if things were totally different. And this was something I felt at that time, even in the service you grow and you understand how concepts are evolving. And in my personal initial stages, I was a doctor, so coming with that background, I was always advocating for the female rights and things that need to be done for them. So I was the first one who started this low-cost sanitary napkin production in Mahoba as the district collector. So when I was transferred to health department in Lucknow, so my principal secretary and all were men, like the whole directors, everybody, seniors were like men there, and mostly you will see the one or two of us are sitting on the chair and rest everybody is a man. So I requested sir that I want to do a meeting, and it's a very important topic, and he had two daughters and a wonderful, brilliant bureaucrat, and I would say like a totally magnificent heart with all those kind of vision. But at that time you won't believe it that when I told him about the topic, he was little reluctant and he was like, okay, what is it? And I said, sir, menstrual hygiene. And he's like, okay, what do you want to do about it? And I said, sir, this is what I have done in UP, Mahoba, and I would like to do it on a large scale from the state. He said, all right, call a meeting, call everybody, and he rushed into it. So I could see that, you know, it was not very comfortable talk. And when we held that meeting, so before everybody come and join the place, like you all are sitting on these tables, so I had put a sanitary napkin on everybody's table. So when all the men came and joined, and I was ready with my presentation, so you wouldn't believe it, it didn't take me more than 5 or 7 minutes, and the project was approved. Because it made them so uncomfortable, I think. But they realized that this is important. But nobody was very open to talk about it, that yes, we understand, all right, let's go about it. You submit the proposal on file and we will do it. And it was actually got approved. And we did it. It was replicated across the state of UP and very much appreciated by a lot of people. So this was something I believe that was the scenario where I started. And then as additional MD of NHM, so there was initial days when NHM came, there was no HR policy in place. So we really had a fight, like, you know, a woman comes for a contractual position for 1 year, and the idea for not giving her maternity leave was that she's a contractual post and she'll be gone for 9 months. Then, you know, 6 months leave in 1 year. How can we do that? And those women were actually continuing for years and years, and because the contract was renewed almost every year on the basis of their performance. So I raised this point and I said they deserve, and this is a basic right that we need to give, because in their entire career they are going to have 1 or 2 children and they should be given this maternity leave. It was approved, the HR policy was framed. That was the first small win, I would say, at that time. Which today I think everybody takes it for granted, but then even this was a fight at some point of time. So from there we started, and today what ma'am has talked about, I would still say that, you know, if we have come from this position to today, this position where we have those kind of crutches available or rights available to have that, you know, facilities with us, the leaves are available, childcare leave or maternity leave and other leaves. But still, when we talk about dignity, I think we still have a far way to go. Because when you talk about this concept of dignity, in my opinion, you know, this is a very subjective concept. What dignity means to me may not mean the same way to her or to other people. So we did a research which was done in Kenya vis-a-vis India. So we did this research on the maternity care, the respect and dignity in the clinics for the women who are antenatal. So what Kenyan women thinks this is dignified care for me, the Indian women doesn't feel the same. You know, if you're slapped in a labor room, maybe it is acceptable to some of the women. If you're abused in a labor room, which used to happen at some point of time, this was acceptable. But this is something I would say that, you know, this inclusivity, diversity, it's a very big concept. You know, diversity means we all are sitting here, different bunch of people sitting here together. But doesn't mean it is inclusive. Doesn't mean I'm letting you speak. Doesn't mean I'm letting you speak. That doesn't mean I'm giving you inclusivity. To bring that dignity onto the table, you really need to feel, first of all, there are subjective norms associated with it. There is culture associated with it. There are so many ethos associated with it. You need to understand what dignity means to her. Am I giving it to her or not? So that's it.
Interesting one. We have had cinema of extremes. We have movies like Toilet. We have also got movies like Animal. What's your view on cinema shaping public opinions, especially around gender? You know, anyone can go. Maybe you can start.
Yeah, I can start, but I think media has a very, very huge impact. And, you know, somewhere I believe it comes from the real-time stories, you get inspired, and, you know, that's what you're reflecting onto the cinema. So somewhere, you know, I wouldn't say it's little exaggerated, but somewhere, you know, the things are coming out from the reality. So there definitely a huge impact can be made through media, and masses follow it. And today the social media, branding, digital communication, I think it's the way everybody's changing everybody's life. So I mean, this is totally extreme. I totally don't believe in this animal thing, but that's my personal opinion. But again, you have a huge, huge potential to change people's life in a very, very big way. Yeah.
Ma'am, what's your view?
Media, according to me, is
I think it's
media is a whole perspective. It is print media, electronic media. Now social media is playing such a big role. And I would like to bring to your attention a recent film, Gangubai Kathiawadi. It appealed to me so much. I never knew, and I was lucky to watch the National Filmfare Awards live this year in Vigyan Bhavan. And I saw that movie getting so many awards. And I'm sure it not only appealed to the woman, but I mean, the jury must have comprised of men too. The struggle, the way this Gangubai Kathiawadi, the way she rose, the way she came from her house, that touched everyone. And Alia Bhatt's portrayal was so beautifully done. So media, be it films, be it, and the hashtag like Me Too and things like that in social media, when you are abused, so many people who otherwise would not have shared the story of their abuse, they also could come out with it. So in US similarly, there's a very famous documentary RBG. Those of you, I was just Googling and I was seeing it's about a jurist and how her struggle, how she rose to the top. It's so beautifully acclaimed. It's on Ruth Bader Ginsburg. All of us can go through it. And media, I mean, really enormous power. You can yield, it is a double-edged weapon. I mean, you have to use it positively and give that message that in STEM, like why there's so less women in the science and mathematics, why they cannot do, because we are not grooming from them from the childhood, that giving a girl child a doll and a boy a train, that kind of grooming needs to be changed. And the mindset and everything, media has a very major role. And Aman, it is your responsibility. Do take it forward. And all of you sitting here, I'm sure you all will be agreeing with what we are saying. And that message needs to be. Now we cannot further continue with these differences.
I've got a daughter at home, and I understand from where you are coming. I'm going to ask this question. We keep talking about quotas. There are so many quotas in India, and there is also a quota for women. Do you think it solves the problem?
There's a quota for women?
And other gender?
Is there a quota also?
No, like in Panchayat and all, like you must be saying no.
Does it solve the problem, of equality, inclusivity, whatever we are talking
I
at
get
a larger
your
level?
point. It's more like, I would say, this creating this gender equality is like, you have to attack the systemic problems. It's like quota is like, I would say, yes, it definitely, provides some of the, I mean, it bridges those gaps in a way, but again, it's not everything. It doesn't solve everything, because there are, as ma'am said, like there are systemic issues in our system. There is systemic like issues where, I would say right from those, atmosphere, there is if I talk about the socio-ecological theory, then you need to understand that it has to change at multiple levels, at the individual level, at the interpersonal level, at the community level, and at the global level. Unless you really, it's a very big thing. Like holistically, you have to change, like target and attack and come up with the interventions. So one intervention at one level will not solve everything.
So, ma'am, what I meant was actually, we talk about quotas as a solution for everything. Do you think that helps solve the problem, what we are talking about? Or not even a problem, actually, again, there's a way of looking at it. Nandita, ma'am.
Quotas for women and other genders are really to fix the bias that was already existing. This is not about bringing in less competent people, but the purpose was to give them at least a level playing field, like a minimum number. But as of now, see, I give example. I was in Ministry of Corporate Affairs till recently. SEBI mandated that at least one of your board of directors should be a woman. But hardly the total, out of the total, only 5% of 500, the chief executive officers across the world is not even a woman. Are they not, I mean, that breaking of the glass ceiling, are they not eligible? Are they not? So it's not about quota should not be the answer, but it should be maybe the means, but give them a level playing field, give them the opportunities, let them fight, and then they should win. The way she was selected for that rural that MD post, I mean, at least she should be eligible to apply and she should be heard. Listen to her perspective, if she is able to deliver or not. So quotas is not to reduce the quality, not to bring in incompetent people. So, but mandating also, but they also, what they did, they just have one woman in the board of directors. That's all, just because it is mandated. So, had it not been mandated, then they won't be having that one person also. I mean, these are things, we are not for quota per se, but at least in education, if they're given that kind of exposure, let them compete. And
Just to add to what ma'am is saying, for example, you go to the malls, you see a female, parking space to be given in the front rather than at the back. It doesn't mean that, she cannot walk. It's all about making them independent and learn them so that they can drive. It's different perspective. So earlier, they fight hota tha, like pradhan pati types, ek word aata tha, that, the women is the pradhan, but the husband is coming and speaking on her behalf. But now, over time, you will see that although it started with that kind of a situation, but now today women are coming on their own and they are talking about the problems of their village. And they understand this is my power, I am sitting on that chair. It does make a difference, although a little late.
So actually my next question is this only, when you talk to women as a public administrator, what's the recurring theme that you're hearing from them, especially around their life or career aspirations?
Repeatedly, I would say the women, every time I see them and we talk to them, so most of them, they want an equal footing, as ma'am said. Nobody is asking for anything special. We all are saying that at least give us that kind of an equal footing where I can tell you that yes, I am capable. And the stereotyping, I think, should be removed, that a woman is judged before she is put on a position. Rather than that, one should be considering that yes, she would be competent if she has the similar qualification and experience. And also a work-life balance. That is a big call for every lady who's working anywhere, I think, right from the clerical staff to the top leadership. But everybody wants that give me that kind of a space that we have a work-life balance, which I think our male counterparts do not even think more on that.
Nandita ma'am, what has been your experience?
I hardly hear women at the top sleeping, but junior clerical level, it is more of an entitlement, like childcare leave lena hi lena hai. Matlab for them, maybe that support system in the family is lacking. So if they are assured all that, because for us, we have a maid, we have somebody to take care of our child when she was small. So maybe certain things we take for granted, but at her level, बच्चा का एग्ज़ाम है, स्कूल से आएगी कौन रखेगा? All these, yes, I hear my junior colleagues. Then I told, yeah, please take it for 2 years at a stretch so that I know that you are not there. So I have a different person altogether. But aaj 2 din, fir kal 3 din, it was making the work, because work is very, very demanding. But I'm seeing it's not as much, it's not there at the officer level, but in the staff level, yes. Because the work-life balance, even the entitlement. They also want to have a good life. They also want, and that support system, if the men and the family comes forward and gives that helping hand, I'm sure they also would not be asking.
Just to add on to this very funny anecdote that I remember, when this recent UPSC exams results were declared, and there was an article, I think all of you must have read it, that even at this level, if an IAS woman is working, so ghar se the call from the helper will come and say, madam, aloo kab layenge? You know, that call will never go to your husband, but that will only go to the madam. So that kind of stereotyping is still there, I think, at every level, and this work-life balance is really, really necessary for the mental, health, which is very extremely, I would say, even during this COVID pandemic and even after that, the stress has increased so much. I believe this is really necessary, no matter what level you are sitting at.
I think it's the same for us also. Please book the cab. वो कपड़े उठा लेना आते हुए. So I think I get your point. I think I'm going to open up the floor for quick questions, maybe one or two, because time is up. If someone can give the mic to the gentleman.
My question is to Dr. Kajal, who is IAS officer of UP cadre. I am S.N. Sharma, I'm former director from Government of India, Ministry of MSME. I happened to visit a few districts in UP, where you are, I don't know which district you are there. I don't want to name the district. And you talked about Gram Pati. Pradhan Pati or Gram Sabha Pati, Mukhya Pati, different states, that name differs. So in spite of my resistance, where the Gram Pradhan was a lady, I didn't get a support from the district administration, including the district magistrate who is IAS officer. He says, अरे भाई शर्मा जी उसका पति आ गया तो आपको क्या फर्क पड़ता है, आपने रिपोर्ट करना है भारत सरकार को, आपको आंकड़े चाहिए क्या चाहिए. मैंने कहा नो, आई हैव टू रिपोर्ट व्हाट इज एग्जैक्ट. शी इज द लीडर ऑफ ए ग्राम सभा. उसको अगर स्कीमों का ही नहीं पता तो लोगों का कैसे पहुंचेगी वो. सो कहनी और कथनी में बड़ा फ़र्क है. आपका जो है थोड़ा सा माइंडसेट, और आपके साथ आईएएस बैठी हैं वो भी, उनका कि एम्पावर अगर करना है, 50% रिजर्वेशन है ग्राम पंचायतों में, यूपी में, हरियाणा में, पंजाब में, लेकिन तकरीबन काम जो है उनके पति करते हैं या देवर करता है या जेठ करता है. और वो आप रिकग्नाइज करते हैं, जो अगर चेक बैंक में पैसा खर्च करना है तो उसके ऊपर पति साइन करता है और आप उसको एक्सेप्ट कर लेती हैं कि, और बैंक वाले भी एक्सेप्ट कर लेते हैं. आई डोंट नो व्हाई इट इज डन.
I'll sir beg to differ on that.
ये आई एम शेयरिंग दिस प्रैक्टिकली.
नहीं सर, बैंक पे तो कभी साइन हो ही नहीं सकता, अंगूठा तो मैडम ही लगाती हैं, जो मर्जी हो जाए. बट आई एग्री कि उस टाइम पे, लॉन्ग टाइम बैक, दिस वाज व्हेन वी स्टार्टेड द करियर, आई कैन टेल यू, यस, आई वॉज वेरी एडमेंट. जब मेरे सामने कोई प्रधानपति आते थे, आई यूज टू टेल देम कि आई विल नॉट स्पीक टू यू अनलेस द प्रधान कम्स ऑन हर ओन. They used to say lot of excuses, मैडम वो तो घूंघट लेती हैं, मैडम वो तो निकलती नहीं हैं. मैंने कहा कोई बात नहीं, बट बीइंग अ लेडी ऑफिसर मेरे पास एक एज था दैट आई यूज टू टेल देम कि देखो मैं तो औरत हूँ, मेरे सामने तो कोई शर्माने वाली बात नहीं है, आप मैडम को लेकर आइए, हम उनके साथ चाय पियेंगे. और मैडम आती थी और मैंने तो जितना सर काम किया, आई कैन नॉट टेल यू अबाउट द अदर्स, बट येस आई अंडरस्टैंड सर. मैं यही कहना चाह रही हूँ कि उस टाइम पे शुरुआत जब हुई, लोगों ने ये सोचा कि यही आगे हो रहे हैं, पर सर टाइम बदला है. और आज की डेट में अगर आप जाके देखेंगे तो औरत खुद आती है, खुद से बात करती हैं, और इतने कॉन्फिडेंस के साथ अब वो बात करती हैं, जो मतलब मैंने भी अपने इस 15-16 साल में इस बदलाव को देखा. And I totally appreciate your point. You must have gone long time back, but now things have really changed. And even during my tenure, I insisted and I made sure that I will not speak to he can sit with her. I don't mind. If that is the comfort she wants, I will give it to her. But again, because she is the Pradhan, I will speak to her. And of course, if she wants the Pati to be present, doesn't matter. That let it be. So this used to happen.